So today's topic is very simply to analyze who our mind really is, what we are in regards to our mind, and how to deal with the mind. So for those of you who have never done introspection in terms of using tools such as meditation, mindfulness meditation, transcendental meditation, then let it be your introduction to the wonderful exploration of our mind in regards to who we really are and what role the mind plays in that field. So, if you don't mind, I like to walk around when I talk. So, I'm going to walk around a little bit and just share my insights. And for those of you who have read the book, The Chimp Paradox, there will be a few things that will be very familiar to you. To those of you who are interested in the law of attraction, there is a lot of things that will very likely be of interest to you. For those of you who are like me on the path of introspection, understanding who we really are, there are things that might be very well be of interest to you as well. So let me simply put, if we believe that we are what we think we are, most of us will point to this body. I'm this body. Others come to the conclusion, well, it must be somehow related to what I'm thinking. So the mind. When it comes to the mind, well, let's first explore very simply body. If we point to our body, if we would be asked who you are, and most of us point to our body, then one of the most simple things to investigate is, well, which part of the body? If I cut a leg, am I still who I am? Am I still, in my case, Sadashiva, Sada? What about the second leg? The third leg? I don't have 3 legs, I just have 2. What about an arm? 2 arms. Where do you stop until you realize to understand that you cannot be this body? It must be something else. Because if that were the case, you could cut pretty much everything away, and only when the brain and the heart are left, and you still would confirm that this is your body or this is what you are, then you also quickly understand that you are not simply the sum of those things, of those, I'd call it body extensions. So, and maybe I need also to state a few, not facts, but as not beliefs, but rather for me, since I am a little boy, are facts. So it's better to understand where I'm coming from. The first fact, so to speak, is that we are here for a reason. There's not a single life form on this planet without a reason. Secondly, this is not the first time I'm here. I strongly believe in reincarnation. This is, I don't know how many reincarnations I have gone through to arrive at this state I am in today. So the question that rises immediately with this thought, and I don't ask you to believe what I'm telling you. I always invite people to see for themselves, to investigate for themselves, and to understand and to realize whether or not what I'm saying is right or wrong. Don't take anything for granted. Don't believe things blindly. I'm always inviting people to go through the filter of their own understanding and their own introspection. But anyway, just telling those facts, so to speak, because for me, that's my worldview upon which I base my arguments. So it's important that you know them. So if my purpose in life, as I understand it, is to evolve, to improve myself, to, as I call it, come closer to divinity. I don't like the terminology of God, because very often it's like a personification of some kind of a representation that of this old man with this old long beard sitting in a chair. I mean, you know what I mean. So I'm talking about divinity and divinizing our life. That's for me improvement, improving myself. So that at some point in time, what's called this wheel of reincarnation, the samskaras, stop. That the wheel of reincarnation stops, and I'm able to reach another level of being. I also firmly believe that while this is one level in which I am present right now, and without defining who I think I am, there are other levels of beings, other places as well. Planet Earth is just one place upon which people like us at this state of realization are being granted the possibility to understand who we really are, progress in our understanding, and move on to different forms of life until we go to the ultimate place. It's a cyclic thing. But anyway, basically, going back to the mind. Our mind has more or less, I believe, a life of its own. You've read the Chimp paradox, some of you. For those of you who have or are sitting down for meditation regularly, you know that there's something that's very difficult to control, and that's your mind. It's a continuous chatter that's going on up there. Let me just move the camera back a little bit, because I see there is a lot of reflection right now. So the first thing, and the important thing to understand, is, I believe, that you are not the mind. I am not my mind. I am something entirely different. But the mind can be an incredibly useful tool on our path towards understanding who we really are, and in realizing that what we really are. The ultimate goal in that respect is called self-realization or enlightenment, but that's a different discussion that I don't want to go into right now. So if you accept the fact that we are not this body and we are not this mind, then what are we? That's the ultimate question that we can find out through introspection. There's nothing you can learn. I can talk about it as I do here. I can point into a direction like a lot of more advanced people than I am do, but ultimately understanding who you really are is entirely up to your personal and your own experience. It's experiential. It's nothing you can learn from books. It's something you have to understand by your own. And one of the most important tools to do that is meditation. Coming back to the mind is telling us stories over and over again, because the mind simply cannot grasp anything that's beyond his own understanding. Only intelligence, not the intelligence of your brain, but universal intelligence. You may call it light, you may call it the universe, you may call it the divine. different forms of energy are able to transcend what the mind is trying to make himself believe or make you believe. And I'm saying this in a very practical way, actually, because the mind is telling us stories, but we have the power to not believe into those stories, or to actually use the mind to provide us with the story that we need to evolve. And that's one of the reasons why meditation is so important. The first step in meditation is really just sitting down, using specific techniques such as pranayama, which are breathing techniques, to calm down the mind. And it works very simply through the fact that by adopting specific breathing techniques, you give something to do to the mind, because the mind needs something to do all the time. Otherwise, he will invent stuff to justify his existence. So breathing techniques allow you to concentrate. They give the mind something to do so that your higher self is able to emerge. That's really what meditation is for. And in a very practical way, your very life, your existence as a body in this world, whatever you are do in terms of your work, your role as a family member, a father, a sister, a mother, going to college and doing your studies. These are all related to what you project for yourself and what you want to become and will become with the power of your mind. And that's very important, because without your mind being able to perceive those and project that in terms of images and feelings, it is impossible to achieve those goals in life or to play our role. But once you start to understand that and to realize that that's actually what's happening, it's also possible to change some of the stories. If your objective is somehow to change something in your life, I'm probably close to those of you who have studied and tried to apply the law of attraction. If there are specific things you'd like to achieve in your life, several things need to come together. First of all, you need to understand the power of your mind. And you need to understand that you are not your mind and that you're able to change the story your mind tells you about yourself. If you're putting yourself down, and with you I mean your mind, not you with your higher self. If your mind has learned how to put you down, and you allow it to reinforce that story over and over again, well, guess what? That's precisely what will happen. You will feel inferior. You will have a lack of confidence. You will find it difficult to achieve specific things in your life. But that's not written in stone. That's something that can change, and there are tools to use to change that. And those tools are, first step, to realize actually that this story exists in your head. And it brings me again back to meditation or meditative practice. Sitting down and observing the mind will be the first step for you to understand how powerful the mind is, and that there is actually a story in your mind. Most of us believe that things happen because of circumstances happening outside of our life, outside of ourselves, sorry. But as a matter of fact, we attract those things into our lives because we have in our mind established a story, and we allow the mind to continue that story so that those things are being attracted in our lives, remain in our lives, and then our mind continues to nurture those stories. In other words, if you want to change something, you need to understand how this works, how the mind works, and you need the tools to change the story. And it's entirely possible. When you hear people like Tony Robbins, any coach really that's working with performance and has understood how the mind works. Whatever Tony, for example, tells you about is the possibility at any moment in time to change that story. I don't say it's easy, but it's entirely possible. And your mind believes always what you tell it as well. So you have a responsibility somewhere to change that story, because the mind got it from you first. It doesn't come from this. Except for those elements that are related to karmic seeds from former lives and that you need to deal with in this life. There's a reason why you are born on this planet into the situation that you are living in. The parents you have, the friends you have, the environment is conditioned by former lives, because these are karmic seeds that you have planted yourself. And you have chosen really to come back to this form of life with all the challenges that it represents, because you were brave enough and you have been given the strength in this life to tackle those problems. Nothing that's presented to you in your life right now cannot be solved and changed by you. That's a gift that everyone gets. And it's our responsibility to pick up that instrument, those challenges, and to use our knowledge little by little to change that story. And the more challenges you encounter in your life, the more indicative it can be that you are either on the right path, because life is testing you, or, and that's the difficult portion, that you're not on the right path. And the more you refuse to acknowledge certain things, the more challenges of the same nature are brought into your life, until you understand that you do not have the right to refuse certain things only because they're inconvenient. That's something where we all as human beings have to be brave to face things as they are, instead of trying to avoid them. Anyway, it's, I think, a quite long story for just doing a live stream to test what I have with the new setup. You see that I'm cartoonized and the sound setup. I'm doing this on a tab, so it's a test. It's a technical test, but obviously I'd prefer to join some insights and some content, some knowledge, some helpful insights, hopefully for you. And there will be a lot of this type of videos if hopefully the test was successful. I don't even know if I'm talking and you can hear me, or if I am visible the correct way. Anyway, this was a test, but at the same time a short introduction into my understanding of my world, and maybe, hopefully, something was into what I explained that could be of use, of help to you. And I will continue to very specific topics specifically related to the mind and how to use the mind, what the techniques are that are available to us to change stories that our mind tells us and that we have nurtured through time. Until then, I thank you very much for watching, and I'm saying see you another time. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you look at this. This is streaming, hopefully, at the same time on YouTube, Facebook, and various other channels, LinkedIn, Instagram. So wherever you see it, subscribe and leave your comments, because my comments, I should be able to see them on this screen. So anyway, long story short, I talk to you soon. Bye-bye.